Do you ever find yourself in a creative rut and not sure what to do for your next scrapbook layout? Or maybe you just don't feel like creating? Today I'm sharing my favorite tips and tricks to help you find the inspiration you need so you can stop just thinking about scrapbooking and actually get to creating. By the way, this is day 2 of my scrapbooking challenge. Be sure to watch yesterday's video where I shared tips to start on your scrapbook layout even when you're on the go. And follow along every day to see how much I get done as I strive to do a little bit of scrapbooking each day. And of course, sprinkle in tips and tricks for you along the way. My happy place every morning is out here on my patio with a cup of coffee, and usually I'm scrolling Instagram and Facebook, and those are great ways to find inspiration, by the way. But what if instead of mindlessly scrolling, we actually were intentional with our time on social media and more intentional with this quiet time, or in this case, semi-quiet time. I've got lots of dogs barking and planes going by. Goodness, he could get over the fence if he really wanted to. Get that squirrel! But what if we used that time to, find a sketch? So I've got a bunch of sketchbooks here and I wanted to look through them to find something that would work with the photos that I printed yesterday. By the way, I enjoy my coffee with some collagen for a little bit of extra protein, and then I add a little bit of sweet cream coffee creamer. My favorite right now is the Chobani sweet cream creamer. I would love to know how you enjoy your coffee. Let me know down in the comments below. I better get moving here because this sun is creeping up, and if you know Colorado sun, you know it is intense. So definitely don't want to be sitting here when that creeps up. So I've got several sketchbooks here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to start with this one. This is the Creative Design Team sketchbooks. I've got our 12 by 12 sketchbooks and our 8.5 by 11 sketchbooks in here. And I seem to remember that there are 1 or 2 that have 3 3x3 photos like I'm looking for. If you remember yesterday, I'm printing a 4x6 portrait orientation and then 3 smaller square photos, and I just want to keep it to a 1-page layout. So I am going to look through this book until I find something that strikes me. So I have found 3 that could work with the photos that I have. And usually what I'll do is I'll take one of these little sticky notes and I will go through and mark the pages of the ones that I find. Now these bigger sticky notes, like up here, those mark where the next sketchbook begins. So I know to ignore those, and I use these little flag ones. And when I'm done with them, I just keep them right here so that they're always ready. Usually I find about 2 or 3 that will work. So I've got these 3. By the way, these Creative Design Team sketchbooks are digital instant downloads from our website, cdtcreatives.com. I will leave that linked down below, and I like to just print them at home and 3-hole punch them and put them in this binder. So I found this one, and of course they've got all the cutting guides, but I am looking at just this sketch right here because we've got 2 smaller photos here and a portrait 4x6, and I'm thinking that I could just kind of bump these down and scoot them closer and maybe have this banner go all the way up to the top and fit 3 square photos there instead of 2 4x3 photos. So that is definitely an option. And then I'll go to my next little flagged one here. Now this one already has 3 3x photos on this side here. And then this is a 5x7. So I would just adjust this to be a 4x6. I could even double mat it so that it becomes, a 5x7 with the mats, and then do this. This is supposed to be a double layout, so these pieces right here are bumped up to the edge to look like they're continuous in the middle. But since I'm doing this as a single page layout, I would probably bump this strip right here over a little bit so that we see a little bit more over on the side here, just so that it looks more intentional as a single page layout. So those are just kind of little things I look at and little tweaks that I think about in my head when I'm looking at sketches. And then this one could work too, although I think one of the other ones is probably my favorite, but I decided just to mark this anyways. This has 3 4x4 photos that I could adjust to 3x3 and just have more space in between them. And then there's a journaling box here, and instead of having journaling, I could put my 4x6 photo there, and then I've got space for a title at the top here. All right, my time out here with the sun is up, so I've got to get inside and get back to work. But at my next break, we're going to talk about more ways to find inspiration, and then I'll start laying my photos out and selecting my paper. Of course, now that I'm ready to go inside, he's just chilling, but I don't know how he can be laying in this hot sun with all that hair. Before I go upstairs, I wanted to show you my other favorite drink. I showed you the Zip Fizz yesterday, but this is what I drink either earlier in the morning right off after my coffee, or later in the evening when I don't want that energy, because the Zip Fizz had the B12 and it's also got some green tea. This is just electrolytes. There's no sugar, no colorings or anything like that. It's just 3 electrolytes, a lot of salt. So it's very salty. My favorites are the grapefruit and the watermelon. I think today I'm gonna have watermelon because I had the grapefruit yesterday. And I just use half of this little pouch because it's so salty. So this whole 24-ounce container, I'll just fill with water, and then that will keep me hydrated. The electrolytes help with so many things, but especially since I deal with migraines pretty regularly, the electrolytes plus staying hydrated is super important for me. Again, not sponsored by LMNT, I just love this stuff. So I just filled this baby with water and I'll sip it throughout the morning. I just think it's really important for those of us, especially over 40 or anyone, really make sure you get your electrolytes. And if you're susceptible to headaches like I am, this doesn't solve all your problems, but I think it definitely helps. So what are some ways that you can find your mojo when it's missing, or just find inspiration when you want something to copy? We're going to talk about printed materials, digital materials, and tactile ways to find it. So first, I've got the Close to My Heart Make It From Your Heart books. If you happen to have these books already, then they are a great resource to turn to. There are several volumes with scrapbooking sketches and inspiration in them. Of course, Close to My Heart went out of business, so they're no longer available, but you might be able to find them on eBay or some Close to My Heart buy sell groups. Another great resource is catalogs or idea books. These are a couple of the Close to My Heart catalogs. Look at which one I happened to grab, the last one. That's me and my hubby on the cover of the last Close to My Heart catalog, which is super exciting. But there are some great scrapbooking ideas in here, and even the old ones that are no longer relevant for products are still relevant for ideas. So flip through those idea books when you're just lacking some mojo and something might strike you and inspire you to create. There's also the Stampin Up catalogs. Currently, they have just cards in them, but starting in September, on September 4th, they're releasing a scrapbooking brochure to supplement the catalog. So it will be digital only when it's available. I will link that down below, but there will be some really great scrapbooking inspiration as well as scrapbooking kits that help to make your scrapbooking easier. And then in the coming months with future catalogs, the scrapbooking will be mixed in with the catalogs too. So that's super exciting. So what about some digital ways to find ideas? I think the obvious is Pinterest and Facebook and Instagram, and I'm going to show you some specific ways to search those. Just remember that you don't want to get sucked in and start scrolling if you're trying to be intentional with your time. If you've got a whole bunch of time to kill, then be my guest, do what you want to do. But I think a lot of us are busy and we don't want to waste time on social media or anything else. So what are some ways that we can scroll through these ideas without getting sucked in and wasting time? I find that my go-to for inspiration is actually Instagram. I love the visual feel of it, and you can just search scrapbooking, and there's a hashtag that a lot of people use that's popular for scrapbooking. So if you search either scrapbooking or hashtag scrapbooking, which you can also follow, then you'll pull up just scrapbooking ideas. Then it's easy. If you really like someone's work, you can just tap to their account and follow them. Pro tip, make sure you follow me over there. The link is down in the description. Now, the other option is Pinterest, which is also very visual, but Lately, I have just not liked Pinterest as much. There's too many ads, and then a lot of times when you search scrapbooking, the same pin will keep coming up over and over. It's not showing you really a variety of things anymore, in my opinion. It is still a great place to scroll, and if you do save scrapbooking ideas to your scrapbooking board, it's a great place to go back and reference things that you have already saved, and it's like discovering them all over again. One of my other favorite places to look for scrapbooking inspiration is Facebook groups, but you have to be careful when you log onto Facebook, again, that you don't get sucked into the mindless scrolling. Go specifically to the group that you're looking for. I really like a group called Scrapbook Addicts. It is positive, the admins are wonderful, it's all just scrapbooking ideas. There's tons of people in there, so you might already be in that group, but if you're not, then I'll leave the link down below. There's like 50 some odd thousand people in there, and I like to post in there, my crafty friends like to post in there, so you know it's good, right? There are so many other Facebook groups. You're probably in some of them already. For example, when I joined Stampin Up, there is one specifically for Stampin Up demonstrators that has lots of really great inspiration. And there's one that's public to anyone. I think it's called Stampin Up Scrapbooking Global. I'll leave that link down below if you'd like to check that out. That is inspiration using Stampin Up products only, and I'm sure there's some for other companies as well. I would love to know, what are your favorite groups? Go ahead and leave those down in the comments below. Then of course there's YouTube. I almost forgot it, but that's the most obvious because that's where we're here right now. So follow your favorite creators, and then be sure to follow them over on Instagram or Facebook too, so you can see the still shots or take screenshots of their videos. I think those of us who share ideas online, we share them to inspire you, so feel free to scrap with. But just remember a common courtesy: if you're going to post your creations online that you got the idea from someone else, then just, give them a little shout out and let people know where you got that idea from. What if you're still missing your mojo or just don't feel like creating for one reason or another? A great tactile way to feel like you're being creative, even if you're not feeling creative, is to do some organization. Recently, I put all of my little embellishments in these little Avery holders. I've got some front and back and put them in this little container, and I felt like I was doing something productive that's crafty, but I didn't necessarily have to create. I also recently finally put together this little carousel to hold all my sprays. Again, that made me feel really productive in a crafty way without having to create. And I reorganized some of my inks. I've got some of my new Stampin' Up inks in their spot. I added some of my most used dies here on this little magnet board. It's just a little picture frame stand that I put a magnet on. I got that idea from Julie. And then I've got my little Sidekick die cutting machine right here. I love this thing because it's so small and can fit on my desk, and it's really handy to just grab when I need to cut some small things. And I did some other just little organization things. Another way to get your mojo going is to do a kit. I've got one of Stampin' Up's paper pumpkin card kits here. Like I mentioned, there are scrapbooking kits coming soon, and these are a great way to just have everything that you need at the ready with the instructions to create the cards or layouts, and you don't have to do the thinking, but you're still being creative. A lot of times by doing one of these things, organizing, doing a kit, even if you're not feeling creative when you start, it kind of gets you going and gets that mojo flowing and gets you into the mood. So look through sketchbooks, look through idea books, put a kit together, do some organizing. I hope that one of these ideas helps you. Well, I know I shared that I was going to pick out my paper and maybe even start adhering photos, but all these tips took way longer than I thought. So I promise I will get to that tomorrow. So be sure to watch this video when it's ready for challenge day 3 tomorrow. You think it's just a simple video, but now I gotta get all this stuff back inside.